Welcome to Truth by Billie Beene. Today's date, July 15, 2025. Time in Texas, about 2 p.m. So some of the things we'll cover: floods and unusual places, what's going on in the tropics, and movement of the Pacific Plate, and other things to affect the U.S. and Epstein. We'll take a new perspective on it. I'll say that President Trump's White House is going all out, using multiple genre publicists and PR people, putting them here, putting them there, all saying the same thing. There is no Jeffrey Epstein client list. So some of my sources are God in the Bible, Patriot subscribers, Hal Turner, National Hurricane Center Plus. And I have a subscribe button in the lower right corner of my screen. Thanks for like, subscribe, and sharing, for hitting the like button. That helps my channel to grow. So let's get started. Okay, I've got the latest update from the National Hurricane Center regarding a tropical system right in this area, currently bringing heavy rain and thunderstorms and some flash flooding to Florida. This area is 40% chance to develop in the next 48 hours, 40% in the next 7 days. It's predicted by the National Hurricane Center to move into Louisiana coast right here on Thursday, possibly as a tropical depression. So that's going on. Definitely will bring very heavy rain. And we have this from Discoverable, that there is an increase in the Cascadia segment that continues from Canada down to North California. So more movement going on there. And we have from EARTHMASTER, in Panama, we've had a 6.2, and these earthquakes in a 5.1, I believe. So Panama, right in this area, is experiencing, the largest was a 6.2, but they're experiencing also a swarm. This area would impact the Costco's plate and directly impact California. So we need to keep an eye on that. In the Indonesia area, that would be on the other side of Japan, we had a 6.7. And we're seeing the Pacific Plate, so major plates to pay attention to off the U.S. West Coast, Juan de Fuca and the Costco. And they intersect with the Pacific Plate, which, according to EARTHMASTER, is moving. This also impacts Japan. We need to keep our eye also on what happens with Japan, because that would impact the U.S. Stephen Burns, geophysicist, reports the sun has let off a massive plasma blast that's directed away from Earth, but still impacts the Earth. And we have this from some things going on. Space weather. They're not reporting any activity from the sun. Stephen Burns did report a huge plasma blast, but directed away from the Earth, but the interaction between the Earth's atmosphere and the sun is still impacted. And we have this. Over California last night, many people heard a double sonic boom. That was the Dragon capsule containing 4 astronauts returning to Earth from the International Space Station. And we have this. What's going on in Texas and other areas are experiencing catastrophic flash flooding. So we've had in Central Texas to North Texas to East Texas, a major portion of Texas, including the Hill Country, where we've just experienced that catastrophic flood affecting many children's camps. We've had some additional rain, and many areas have experienced flooding overnight. That would include Dallas, Fort Worth, down to San Antonio, and Austin. So that's going on. We're still having flooding in Texas. And in New Mexico overnight, we had snow in Albuquerque. And in New York City, they've had 5 to 8 inches of floods. They're experiencing flash flooding. The subways are flooding. And we're having flash flooding also in Oklahoma, in the Choctaw and Pochatawaa counties, and also the Antlers area. New Jersey is being hit by flash flooding. At San Saba County in Texas, flooding with a crest of 30 feet. That happened yesterday. July 15 today, New York City and New Jersey are flooding. And we have this from Hal Turner. So in New Jersey, we've had an unusual flood take place that has shut down I-95. The New Jersey Turnpike that goes from Maine to Florida, it's 6 lanes in each direction. So we're talking about a 12-lane freeway from Maine to Florida being shut down due to flash flooding. They have been receiving 2 to 3 inches of rain per hour. And this is the first time this has happened since the storm Sandy. And we have this. Judge Napolitano brings this out about Epstein. Okay, there's no Epstein client list. Why in previous court rulings did the Dutch Bank and JP Morgan and Bear Stearns and Prince Andrew pay out millions of dollars? Prince Andrew paid out $16 million to underage victims he encountered on the Epstein Island. Many other people have been had to pay court rulings to victims, underage victims, for a total of $680 million. So if there's no Epstein client list and no one to prosecute, why in the past, since about 2020, have we seen these court rulings go down and millions of dollars being paid out? So that's going on. And we have this from Breitbart. ICE has arrested over the weekend hundreds, I believe, of illegals and also rescued underage children from one of the largest pot farms in California. Plus, they've made arrests of convicted either child trafficking or sex crimes of illegals. They've made the arrest in Durham County, North Carolina, Travis County, Texas, Salt Lake City, Utah, Hagerstown, Maryland. So that, and Houston, Texas. Most of them were from Mexico, of the convicted traffickers and sex and assault cases. All were from Mexico, with one from El Salvador. Breitbart also brings this out. There's been a 700% increase in the assaults on ICE, U.S. Marshals, and other government agencies. And it's being put forth. One encounter in California involved fire weapons with a firefight between the illegals and the government agents. Antifa, we know, is funded by the deep state, George Soros, MoveOn.org organization. Antifa, per the Department of Homeland Security, is now targeting ICE agents at their homes and threatening their families. And we have this. Events also going on against ICE agents and other government agents. In Portland, Oregon, we have the group Rose City, plus a group called Christian, not Christian, Christian Daily, that has published the home addresses of ICE agents. So that's going on. We need to take a firm stand against these communist, socialists trying to destroy America. Now, something else from Edgar Cayce for 2025, we can expect a pole shift this year or in the next few years that will be spiritual, electromagnetic, plus impact physically our land. And we have this. His predictions were western part of the U.S. Would have breaks in it, and that Japan would go into the sea, and that the upper European landmass would be changed. There would be an increase in earthquakes, floods, volcanoes. We would see polar ice melt. There would be a shift of the axis of the earth. We are seeing these things, and that people will awaken and the old order will be taken down. So that's going on. And it's good to pay attention what is happening in Japan. So Hal Turner brings this out yesterday, or in the last 24 hours. 3 high-level central bankers in Japan committed suicide. 2 jumped out of windows and 1 jumped in front of a train. And it's coming out that Japan is suffering apparently catastrophic financial problems. So that's going on. And we know from other Christian prophets talking about an economic downturn. It would begin in Japan, spread to Germany, and then to the U.S. We have this from Bloomberg. Japan, Monday, yesterday. A significant drop in the value of Japanese bonds. And they are having an election July 20, which is Bloomberg puts forth, is also impacting the Japanese market. So there are concerns about Japan's government spending way beyond its means. So that's going on. And we have this, DURAN, Robert Barnes was interviewed. He's a U.S. attorney, has worked extensively with the government, talking about Epstein. So he says Robert Maxwell, that's Ghislaine Maxwell's father was a Mossad agent. He recruited Jeffrey Epstein in the 70s and set Mossad, CIA, and MI6 set Jeffrey Epstein up in a honeypot operation to snare U.S. politicians, leaders of nations, big corporation CEOs, billionaires, and so on, so they could be blackmailed and controlled. So, Robert Burns brings this out. Yeah. So, that's going on. And I will end this segment with a line from the movie Shooter. They told us artificial sweeteners are safe and that there are weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and that Anna Nicole married for love. And I will add this. Now they're telling us there is no Jeffrey Epstein client list. So that's going on. I think it's good to pray for America, President Trump, the U.S. military, and world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.